So, just for fun, I watched a video brawl, a real fight. Everyone has seen it, and in the fight, I noticed, yeah, a couple people haven't seen it, but in the fight, I've noticed two things. One in particular is that a lot of the attacks started with some kind of reaching, grab, or some kind of reaching push. And so my assessment of this is two reasons. The first is I'm going to grab him and hold him so that I can punch him, or I'm touching him so that I can have a gauge of where his face is, right? So if I just start swinging, I don't know where his head is, but if I can reach out and touch him, then I got a good target on his head. The second one is when he's coming at me and I'm pushing like this to keep him away from me, right? So I notice a lot of, and then pushing in the face and in the throat and in the neck, and then a lot of pushing. The other thing I noticed were really bad punches. Like this kind of punch, and even there's one punch that the guy literally just throws his hand out like this, and you can see it in the video, but we're not going to address those. We're going to focus mostly on what to do when someone brings the hand up to your face. So the first thing we're going to work on is how to react to a push. So he's just going to do, this is a very basic technique and a basic drill. I wouldn't call this necessarily an application, but it moves into an application. So when he pushes, I want to not go against the push like this, but I want to move with the push. And then just let my hand come up. Now, this works well if he's not punching, right? He's just pushing. If he's throwing a punch with that hand, and we've talked about this a few times, right? We've talked about how if I try to bring the hand this way, I'm going to get hit. But if I can bring the hand up and offer some protection with my extended arm, then I can block that punch. So the same kind of thing is going to happen here. He pushes, and I'm pushing this way. Push with the other hand. Actually push. So push, see that? The push actually. And so I want to, it should be reflexive. And that way we're not fighting against his strength. From there, once he pushes, I can do a number of things, right? Come like this. Or, oops. Right. And then striking like this. Lots of things that you can do. But the practice then initially would be just to get used to this. Okay. Questions? So, on this position, I'm going to move in and return the push here. Underneath. Same side here. So now I'm going to catch here. And I'm going to move over here. Moving in like this. Choke hold is here. So you want to get, does it feel good? This is the thing that you're pressing against to get the pressure. One more time. So one, I'm caught here. All right. Hold on, maintain control of his. And move in for the choke. I'm going to put my body into it. Sometimes I can put my head, although that's not my favorite. But using the body always works. Good? Yes. So the same movement here. He's going to push me and I'm going to push him. Except this time, I'm going to come in and take him down. So the push comes in here. I've already got his balance, right? In here. So now all I got to do is continue around. So slowly, see, I'm not just using this, right? As part of it. I can catch him. A couple different ways that I can catch him. Right, I can catch underneath. Catch. Well, how did I catch myself? I can catch over top. Right? I can here come to his head, manipulate his head. I can use his shoulder. Very slowly. Most important thing is though, he's pushing. Right? He's pushing, and I'm pushing back, but pushing himself really. I also want to add a little turn to that. Here. Takes his balance even further. And again, if the punch is coming after, so here we got push, punch. Here. I'm actually going to go into the arm. This up. See that? This again. This up. So he pushes me, grabs me or pushes me, doesn't matter. But if this shoulder goes back, this one goes forward, and now here I have the push defense and the block. Punch. Okay, so now we're going to try something that is a little bit more karate. And again, in the fight, there was a lot of reaching for the face and a lot of this, where he reaches for me and I reach back, and we end up doing this kind of thing where we're swinging and punching and nobody really has any control. So instead of him reaching and me reaching back like this, I'm actually just going to go up here and then strike. Now if he's swinging with that other hand, that's okay, because I'm going to come into his face and then I'm going to move in like this. Whatever I want to do from there, I can do. I don't have to, right? I can control him from there. So here. So this is the strike here, right? But you have to move into it, because here, when I stop, then he's going to be punching at me with that hand, and we're back to where we are. So when I come in, I need to make my move. And be wary of the other hand. So if he reaches in with that hand and I go here and he's punching me, then I just got hit. So he comes in. First thing I do, punch here. So this may look like karate because it is, but then you can come in and do a nice control technique. Okay, so slowly.
Which hand?
This one. So I'll come in, boom, boom. Two hands. And then from here, whatever you want. Side, here. Striking. You can do Aikido, you can do Karate, right? You can just keep striking if you want. We have him in this position to do whatever we want. Okay, so he's reaching for my face and my throat or my neck or whatever it is, and I'm just gonna trap and take him into Kotegaeshi. Now I know this works because I did it to a guy at Fluids. He grabbed my face, and I went. Well, he actually had a hold on my face, and I did like this, and I took his head like this, and I pinned him against the chair that was upside down on the table, and he was stuck just like this, crying. But it was Kotegaeshi. I don't know why he reached for my face, right? But I just did like that. And it was not that difficult. And I've done Kotegaeshi a few times breaking up fights. So I know that you can pull it off in a real situation. So his hands are at my face, right? I'm just going to catch one and take it down. Okay? Hands are at my face. Boom. It's a little messy. You're in a brawl. Hands all over the place. His hands come at you. Get one of them. Okay? I got it. And again, this is the guy who's pushing at you like this, and he pushes at me, and instead of pushing back like this or going for his face, I just sink back and go for his arm. So that's another technique, is he comes in, I can actually sink back a little bit. And notice how he's not going to do a giant flip, right? If I really sutemi him, he should just go straight to the ground. And in a real dangerous situation, here, I'm not just going to go Kotegaeshi. What am I going to do? Right? So that's another distraction. He has both hands up. See that? And again, both hands. I was going to go for that hand. But he drew it back and left that one up. So I just grabbed that hand. You see? What he just did, I had planned on trapping this hand. But he came up, that hand dropped. So I just did this one. And that's the point. If you got two hands, try. Whichever one is there. Right? That's a mindset that You're going to do whatever shows itself to you. You're not going to force anything on your attacker, because what is that a result of, a product of? Your consciousness. If he's attacking me, and I know from the beginning that I'm going to do a Kotegaeshi, then that's not a natural reaction, right? So if I'm trying to be a little bit more realistic, I want to just go for whatever's there, okay? Even if I mess up, even if I grab something, I say, what did I do just now? I made a mistake because I was determined to do Kotegaeshi, and that wasn't the natural thing. But since I'm trying to teach you guys and we're talking about Kotegaeshi, that was what I was doing. But you see the result of it, right? If I had done something natural, right, if he comes at me, the natural thing for me would be to just kick and start punching. That would be the reaction without thinking. So we want to try to be more natural and not force anything. So for this one, again, I want you to, he's going to go with both hands. And we're going to just, whichever one we can get to, right, and trap. Maybe it's the left hand, maybe it's the right. Whatever's there. Maybe he draws one hand back, and you don't have a choice but to take that one hand. Right? But we're going to try to be natural, but also kick. Okay? And Jim, you can kick, just go kick. Do this hand. All you got to do is come at me. All right? That's it. Do that again. See that kick? Boom. We don't have to kick hard. If he's stepping, drop him like this, and I can take it down. So there was a lot of hands in the faces, but there were actually some people who were grabbing here. And this is not a choke. When people are grabbing you like this, they're not trying to choke you. Okay? They're trying to control you or push you or get a grip on you so that they can punch you. So you don't really have to deal with the squeezing. He's not going to be squeezing in this situation. From the attacks that I'm talking about, the way what I saw in the video, where people are just reaching up, trying to get to the throat, trying to control somebody. So that's kind of a natural thing, a defense mechanism. And so he's going to actually have his hand on my throat. So I'm going to do the same technique. So this is definitely Kotegaeshi right here. Once he gets sorry, I'm catching it too soon. Once he gets his hand on your throat, right? I'm not going to try to fight back or try to do this. I'm going to take it off like this, okay? So he might be swinging at me with that other hand, in which case I'm doing the same thing. So if his hand is, okay, I'm sorry. If his hand catches, he actually catches me on the throat, I need to throw my hand in his face and distract him and pull him off like this. Okay, so don't forget, remember the old movies use two hands. I love the old movies where, like the Western movie, and he takes me and I'm like, and then we choke each other, back and forth, instead of like, trying to break the choke or whatever. So that's what we're going to focus on, is not returning his attack, but moving in the opposite way. Pretty easy, okay? It's actually, if someone grabs you like this is not difficult technique to make work, okay? And look, I'm not just using my hand, right? And then, so that inside. So here, we have this one. Right. So if it's faster, right, wherever I'm hitting him, then I can take him to the Kotegaeshi. If he doesn't fall, then if he's just standing there, then what can I do? Everything, anything I want, right? Kotegaeshi puts him in a vulnerable position. I can take him to the ground, but like I said, I literally pinned a person like this with Kotegaeshi. Use it as a pin. I actually pinned some students in a fight at school like that too. I took one and pinned his hand down to the table like that and immobilized him this way. So I'd probably use Kotegaeshi more than anything in breaking up fights and also a few self-defense situations. So I find it very easy to pull off. Now, if he's really trying to resist, right? Resist him. Okay? See? He's got some strength going here, right? So we know about atemis. This one, right? You okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
It's been done to me before.
Okay,
my karate instructor.
So you got this one. Here, let's show the other side. I'm gonna go easy. Here. All right. That is if I just want to loosen his arm but don't want to hurt him too much. All right. You see a lot of this stuff on the internet, but if he's really resisting, this one's hard to pull off unless I soften him up first. take his balance, and then I can pull it off. But we're focusing on the Kotegaeshi. So he's being really hard with his grip, and I'm trying to pull him off like this, and all I gotta do is loosen him up. I can do that on his body, and loosen his arm up, something like that. If I don't care about his safety, punch him right in the face, all right? So remember, when I say hit him in the arm, this is the guy that I don't want to knock his teeth out of his face. If I don't care about him, go for the face. Boom, the most vulnerable thing. If your life is really in danger, right? If you're dealing with a guy who just did something stupid, right? You can do that. That's all.
No, it's fine.
Lots of stuff that we can do. You can't pull your punches, but you can choose your targets. Like, I would not try to hit a guy in the face softly. You understand? So that I didn't hurt him. What I would do, if I didn't want to hit him, I would hit him in the solar plexus. Because that's going to hurt him temporarily, but not injure him, right? If I want to damage him, punch him in the face. But I don't try to do a light punch to a face, so that I don't do as much damage. That doesn't make any sense. You punch, right? So for my strategy, if it's not a life-threatening situation and you don't want to bust the guy's face up, you got lots of targets like solar plexus. Even if you hit the guy in the chest, you know, it's not a really painful strike, but it'll loosen him up a little bit, make him think, you know, if you got a good punch. So that's my approach to changing the type of atemi. It's not by hitting him softly, but choosing your target. Okay, questions?